Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, on the radio, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and on talklawradio.com. Today's going to be a great show. Have with me my friend Shannon Salmon Haas. We're going to be talking about immigration, and I do have to talk about the person who's not here, who was supposed to be here, your husband, former Judge Aaron Haas. I really wanted to talk to him about what it was like to be a district judge. And
he has authorized me to disclose any embarrassing stories that I wish to share. And
right. Because you wouldn't be saying them if he were here.
Exactly.
So we're going to be talking about immigration because I was watching the news about the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, and one of my friends said, I heard that the construction workers that tragically fell off of the bridge when it got hit by that big ship were from another place, and we wondered if they were authorized to work in the United States, because when I hire somebody, the first thing we have to do is an I-9. That's the form where the employer has to fill it out. It says, yes, I checked to see the person's documents. Could be a passport or a social security card or a driver's license.
Right.
All that stuff on that list. And so I still don't know if those construction workers were authorized to work in the United States, but we do know that they were from somewhere else.
Right.
So I want to talk about that a little bit later. But for those of us who are unfamiliar with your background, I wanted to ask you about your background a little bit. I know you because we were in the same class at St. Mary's Law School. Why don't you tell us where did you go to school before that?
Oh, okay. I went to Our Lady of the Lake University. I started at SAC, San Antonio College.
Mm-hmm.
I had a really good experience there, and then I went to Our Lady of the Lake here in town.
What's your undergraduate degree in?
I think it ended up being just, they just called it Bachelor's of Science. I really wanted to be a social worker. Life kind of happened, and then I just did a cost-benefit analysis, and it just wasn't going to work out for me to be a social worker. And then I heard about, I think it was a person that was a cosmetologist, and they would go to the nursing homes and cut people's hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, you can serve God's people in any occupation. You don't specifically have to be a social worker or a counselor or, So I thought, well, let me just get a general degree and we'll see where it goes from there.
Okay. I got my degree in political science, and I also discovered that there are no jobs for that degree.
Right.
Or actually, I was working in Santa Fe at the General Land Office when I discovered that I did not want to be a government worker, because all the higher ups would say not so nice things about the people that they wanted to get rid of, but they couldn't because of government rules.
Right.
And my desk was outside the office of the general counsel. And so I kind of knew his secretary. And she did almost no work at all. She watched music videos on the internet, and she did her shopping. And then when he would walk through, she would start typing letters and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And I just thought, this is ridiculous. I don't want to work here.
Right.
So that's when I decided to apply to St. Mary's. And my idea was to become a patent attorney, but you have to be a scientist basically to be a patent attorney. And so I figured out I'm not that. And that's when I discovered elder law and estate planning. When you were first starting law school, what type of law did you think that you wanted to do?
Well, can I address something first that you
Sure.
just said? I really admire a lot of things about you, but one of them is how you chose that field, knew that it appealed to you, and you just went all in on that. There's a lot to be said for that, because some of us, we've done a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
and you've done other things too, but I like how you really focused on that.
Well, it wasn't me. I was taking estate planning with Professor Matherly, and there was a little footnote about elder law, and God spoke to me at that moment.
Wow.
And I felt like that was my calling.
What a good feeling.
Yeah.
And you've helped a lot of people. You've done a lot of good.
But what about you?
I was all in on criminal defense. I don't really know why. I had interned with an attorney in town that did criminal defense, like in the trenches, court appointments and fighting the good fight, defending the Constitution, and I really, really thought I was going to do that. I was all in on that. I did everything focused on that. I did the social justice clinic,
right,
the criminal defense clinic. They actually let me do cases under the, kind of like your learner's permit.
Yeah, I worked there too.
And then I got to a certain level in criminal defense, and they started giving me really life-altering felonies where if, God forbid, I were to do something really awful on the case, this person would be looking at like life in prison, no parole. And the stress of it got to me, so I kind of backed off of criminal defense.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a heavy criminal defense background, and I've been getting into it a little more. I just don't think I'll ever do those high-level cases. That's just not my personality.
Yeah.
When there's so much, when you care about people and there's so much on the line, it's really hard to not be so stressed.
Yeah. Well, I hired 2 criminal defense attorneys to work with me, and they both were leaving that practice because of the stress.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a friend, I hope you have him on. He's just a robot about it. He's like, I wasn't there when this alleged event happened. I'm just going to do my job. And
those defendants deserve to have representation.
Oh, of course.
Whether they did it or not.
Of course.
To force the state to prove their case. That's how the rest of us enjoy freedom, is by forcing the government to prove their case.
That's my philosophy as well, but it's pretty hard to defend that when you're at a cocktail party and people ask what you do, and you get that face. How can you defend that person? Or that,
right.
But to me, it's defending your right. It's defending the Constitution.
Yeah, some of those characters can be scary, but the scarier ones are in the family law field.
Yes, my life has been threatened only one time in criminal law in that field, and in family law I've lost count. It's in criminal law you're dealing with somebody that's having a bad day, but this is not the worst day of their life. It's often that they have a very long record. They can quote you the law.
Mm-hmm.
They know, they're in a system that they understand and that they know. No judgment. I mean, that's just where family law are just kind of people who've never touched the legal system before, and then they're suddenly thrust into it, and this is their worst day ever. You're talking about their money, their children, everything they hold dear, and it's the pressure is, I mean, I don't even have a word for it. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, a family law case.
But you do some family law.
I do a lot of family law.
It's on your website.
Yes, I do. I do a lot of family law. And I just feel like it's guiding people through a mind, field.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have to take a break. When we come back, we'll start talking about
what we meant to talk about.
Yeah, immigration. So stay tuned.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.